Hey everyone and welcome to another boss battle, the series where we take the bosses in Warframe, break them down, show the mechanics plus a couple of strats to be able to take them down easier. Today we're going to be taking a look at probably the second boss you'll come up against in Warframe, and that is the main boss on Venus, the Jackal. Jackal is a huge quad robot, designed by the Corpus as part of their robotic line of fighting robots. Fun fact about Jackal though, he is very heavily based off a human-controlled robot in one of Digital Extreme's older games, the Jackal in Dark Sector. You will find him by clearing the planet Venus, with him controlling the Fossa node. In terms of what he has the chance to drop, well, the Warframe he will give you parts for is Rhino, who is a pretty decent frame, good crowd control as well as some team support. Although he doesn't really have any desirable mods that he drops, but the drop list is currently on the left hand side of the screen now, so you can see if there's anything you are looking for. So the boss itself, what can you expect to be on the receiving end of while you try and take him down? Well, he has 4 main attacks that he will do, although one of them will come a couple of phases into the fight. During the first and second phase of the fight, the 3 that he will do are the twin frontal guns. They're going to fire at you almost constantly, and they do a surprising amount of damage, so be very careful if you're on a squishy frame like I'm on Nyx. These things can take you down pretty quickly if you're not paying attention. The second attack he will do is a stomp to try and knock you down and knock you off the map. This is easy enough to avoid since the attack is pretty obvious that it's coming. He will raise his leg into the air for a second or two and then stomp it down. Avoiding that is as easy as jumping over the circle marker on the floor that expands outwards, because that shows basically the area where you're going to get knocked down. The third one is where he will fire out a whole bunch of mines that are going to explode after a second or two, dealing an actually pretty decent amount of damage. It's fairly easy to avoid these, you just reposition away from them basically, and then you won't take damage from them at all. The fourth attack is one that doesn't come until you've downed him twice, and that is where he's going to fire a whole bunch of homing missiles at you. If they hit you, they're pretty much going to down you instantly if you're on a squishy frame, or on, well, honestly, any frame if it's going to be a salty Jackal. These are pretty slow though, so if you see them coming, you can just put one of the pillars in the arena between you and the missiles, so they hit the pillar instead, leaving you completely unharmed. So we've looked at how he damages you. How do you go about damaging him? Well, it takes some knowledge of the mechanics plus the right elemental mods. The elemental mods I go for if I'm not running a generic build like I am in the footage is Radiation to combat both the robotic health and the alloy armor it has, and if I have a spare elemental slot available I go with Cold for a little bit more damage to that alloy armor without losing any efficiency against the proto shielding that the Jackal has on him. But the damage types are only half of the battle, you still need to know how to take him down. To be honest though, it's not really that hard. You're going to notice that the central body of the Jackal is completely invulnerable, so you can't damage that at all. What you need to do is to shoot either one of the upper legs or the lower parts of the legs until he drops down, and that's only one of them. You need to take the health all the way down and he will drop down, at which point the central part of his body becomes vulnerable. If you do this 4 times you will defeat the boss. He's actually not that hard really, so you just have to be good at avoiding the damage he's going to put out towards you. Now while I don't talk about tactics in relation to using certain frames to nuke bosses, I'd like to leave that one up to you guys and to the comments. I do have one piece of advice for taking down Jackal. Use the pillars around the arena. As you can see in the footage, you can shoot around them while remaining completely safe because of the way angles work in the game. So just make sure to keep the pillar between you and Jackal and shoot the weak spots on the right hand side of his body. Well, it's actually his left hand side of his body, but it's the right hand side that you can see. You can do this fight in relative safety. So I hope this guide helps you defeating the Jackal a lot easier and has helped you understand some of the mechanics. Personally, I think he's one of, if not the best designed boss in the game. He's not insta-killable, but needing to know some of the mechanics to be able to take him down. I like Jackal a lot. I'll be carrying on doing a different boss every day this week as part of my boss week, so stay tuned for that. But for now, many thanks for watching, and feel free to give me any feedback in the comments below. And as always, I shall see you in the next video.